For over a decade, the Kremlin has sold the world a story. They told us that the Sukhoi 57, NATO reporting name Felon, was the ultimate predator. They claimed it was invisible. They claimed it could hunt American F-22s in the dark and vanish before the U.S. Air Force even knew it was there. It was the Raptor Killer, the pride of Russia. But stories are easy to tell when you hide the evidence. For years, the Sukhoi 57 was kept behind velvet ropes at controlled air shows in Moscow. Western analysts could only squint at grainy satellite photos or heavily edited propaganda videos. We suspected the truth, but we couldn't prove it. Until November 2024. In a move that military historians will likely look back on as a catastrophic, unforced error, Russia decided to send its secret weapon into the heart of China. The mission was supposed to be a victory lap. The Sukhoi 57 landed at the Zhuhai Airshow to dazzle the crowds and prove to Beijing that Russian engineering was still superior. But when the wheels touched the tarmac, something unexpected happened. There were no velvet ropes. There were no armed guards pushing people back. And for the first time in history, the public got close. Too close. What happened next wasn't an air battle. It was a massacre by smartphone. Within hours, high-resolution photos of the Sukhoi 57's fuselage were trending on Chinese social media, and what they revealed shocked the world. We didn't see the smooth, alien geometry of an American stealth fighter. We saw wood screws. We saw uneven panel gaps filled with caulk. We saw a fifth-generation fighter that looked like it was assembled in a backyard garage. This is the true story of the Zhuhai Incident. It is the story of how a single photo-op destroyed a decade of Russian propaganda, exposed the crumbling reality of their military industry, and signaled a terrifying new truth to the United States. The Cold War rival we feared is gone, but a much more dangerous one has taken its place. To understand why this moment matters to the United States, we first have to look at the gold standard. When you look at an American F-22 Raptor or an F-35 Lightning II, you are looking at a miracle of manufacturing. The surface of an American stealth jet is smoother than glass. The tolerances are measured in fractions of a millimeter. Every rivet is covered by radar-absorbent tape. Every curve is mathematically calculated to scatter radar waves away from the enemy source. It is expensive, it is difficult to maintain, but it works. It makes a 60-foot combat jet appear on radar as a golf ball. Russia claimed the Sukhoi 57 was in this same club. They touted plasma stealth technology and revolutionary composite materials. But when the jet sat on that runway in China, the illusion evaporated. The photos taken by Chinese bloggers showed the wing roots, the area where the wings join the body. In a stealth jet, this is a critical zone. It needs to be seamless. On the Sukhoi 57, it was held together by mismatched screws. Some were Phillips head, the kind you buy at a hardware store. Others were hexagonal. The panels didn't sit flush. There were gaps large enough to stick a fingernail in. To a radar wave, those gaps are like lighthouses. They create what's called a corner reflector. When enemy radar hits those uneven screws, the energy bounces right back to the source. In a dogfight against the U.S. Navy, that is not just a defect, that is a death sentence. But the humiliation didn't stop at the screws. It was the reaction of the Chinese themselves. Remember, China is Russia's ally. They're supposed to be on the same team. Yet, the Chinese internet, which is heavily censored by the state, was allowed to flood with mockery. One viral comment on Weibo asked if the plane was made of Lego. Another compared the fuselage quality to a 1980s tractor. Why did Beijing allow this? Why did they let their citizens tear apart the reputation of their strategic partner? The answer was parked just 500 yards away. While the Russian jet was being laughed at, the Chinese military rolled out their own answer to American air power, the J-35A. This was the moment the balance of power shifted. The J-35A is China's newest stealth fighter, designed specifically to launch from the electromagnetic catapults of their new Fujian aircraft carrier. And unlike the Russian jet, the J-35A looked the part. Its surface was smooth. Its sawtooth panel lines were laser precise, mimicking the American F-35 almost perfectly. It was a visual declaration of independence. China was telling the world, we don't need Russian technology anymore. We have caught up to the West. For the Pentagon, this was a good news, bad news scenario. The good news, the Russian threat is overrated. The Sukhoi 57 is likely detectable by our AWACS and ground radars at significant ranges. The superweapon is a paper tiger. The bad news, the Chinese threat, is very, very real. The manufacturing quality we saw on the J-35A proves that China has mastered the industrial processes required for true stealth. They aren't just copying us anymore, they are iterating. Let's dig deeper into the dive. During the air show, the Russian test pilot Sergei Bogdan took the Sukhoi 57 into the sky. He performed maneuvers that were genuinely breathtaking. The jet did flat spins, Pugachev's cobras, and falling leaves. It defied gravity. But here is the hard truth that American pilots know. Aerobatics don't win wars. Stealth wins wars. Sensor fusion wins wars. In a modern engagement, an American F-25 pilot will never see the enemy. He will detect the Sukhoi 57 from 100 miles away, fire a missile, and turn home before the Russian pilot even knows he's in a fight. The ability to do a backflip is useless if you are blown out of the sky before you can merge. The Sukhoi 57 is a gladiator. It's built for a knife fight in a phone booth. But the United States fights with sniper rifles from the next town over. The Russians built a war that no longer exists. And then there's the engine problem. The Sukhoi 57 at Zhuhai was flying with older AL-41 F-1 engines. These are the same engines used on non-stealth jets from the Cold War era. They have round nozzles that are not optimized for stealth. They are hot, loud, and massive infrared targets. Russia has been promising a new engine, the Izdeliye 30, for a decade. It's still not ready. Meanwhile, the U.S. is already moving to the next generation. We are testing the NAGD, Next Generation Air Dominance Fighter. We are putting lasers on ships. We are flying the B-21 Raider. We are lapping the competition, while Russia is still struggling to tighten its screws. So what is the verdict? The Zhuhai Incident of 2024 peeled back the curtain on the Russian war machine. It revealed a nation that is struggling under sanctions, losing its technical edge, and being eclipsed by its neighbor to the south. For the United States, this is a validation of our strategy. Our expensive, frustrating, high-maintenance stealth coating, it's worth it. Our obsession with perfect manufacturing tolerances, it's worth it. Because when the shooting starts, you can't fake physics. The Russian bear has teeth, but it is blind. The dragon, however, is sharpening its claws. The next great challenge for American air power won't come from Moscow. It will come from the South China Sea. And as we saw in Zhuhai, the enemy there knows exactly how to build a stealth fighter. History is written by the victors, but as the Sukhoi 57 showed us, it is also written by the quality control inspectors. And right now, Russia is failing the test.